Ahlan wa sahlan, and welcome. My name is Dave Sirio. I'm the manager of the Education Department and curator of the Arab Film Festival. And welcome to the Arab American National Museum. Today we're focusing on living in America. We're focusing on Arab Americans who have come from those 22 countries that we've talked about, came over to the United States in the variety of ways we've discussed, and are now living in America. So in this section we'll talk a lot about what it's like to be an Arab American, the things that we're dealing with, some of our cultural characteristics, and a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about what life is like as an Arab American in here. I'm going to start with my favorite room in the entire house, hopefully yours as well. The kitchen. So you might be thinking to yourself, why is there a kitchen in a museum? It's kind of an odd thing to have, right? Well, at the museum, we wanted to show hospitality. We wanted to show what it's like to be in an Arab American household, right? One of the best ways to do that is through hospitality, is through generosity, is to basically giving guests kind of the red carpet treatment. So traditionally, if you go into an Arab American household, you're often met with some type of food, whether it's a full course meal, whether it's a few snacks, whether it's just dessert, but most times you're offered some type of cuisine or some type of food. This is very important for Arab Americans to show that we want you in our space. Look what we have for you. We have all this, special food. So it's a way for us to appreciate you as a friend, as a guest, and it makes us feel good. Now again, there are various degrees that people do this. If you came over to my grandparents' house, they would fix you this gigantic feast from end to the table to the end of the table. There'd be food. You couldn't even see the top of the table. I myself, no offense, but I probably wouldn't do that, right? I would probably put out some snacks, maybe make some tea and kind of call it a day. So it really depends from individual to individual. But in general, hospitality is extremely important to the Arab American community. Also, again, representation is very important as well. So we want to represent our best culture to use, right? So we won't break out paper plates and paper cups. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we're going to go for the fancy stuff, right? We're going to go for the fancy, the soup tureen and kind of the matching set with it. We might break out really beautiful plates that have very specific designs, cultural designs that connect to us. So this one, for example, is Palestinian pottery. So I would break this out if I have guests, but I'm not going to use it when I'm just by myself having a snack, right? We'll break out our beautiful tea set as well, right? So again, this is something that you would break out for guests, very special kind of occasions. So tea and coffee is also extremely important in Arab culture. So when we have guests that come over, usually there's kind of a set course for the night, right? If it's a big kind of thing and we're making a bunch of food, there's kind of a way that it goes. So for our family, at least, we'll start off with fruits and nuts and dates. We'll move into kind of the main course. We'll go into sweets after that, maybe followed with some fruit, and then we offer coffee and tea. So for some families, coffee and tea is first. For other families, coffee and tea is second. The trick though is it's a hot drink, okay? So we want you to, you have to kind of sip on it, wait for it to cool, and this gives us the opportunity to have more conversations with you, to make more memories, for you to go back and get some more food. So again, it's a way to kind of extend that hospitality. So if you go to an Arab person's house, you are generally fed very well, and it's impolite to say no. It can kind of cause a little bit of tension, so it's always polite to take something that you're offered. As Arabs, we're very persistent in a very polite way, so if you tell us no, we'll eventually win and have you eat something. But again, there's ways around that. So if you're really not hungry, how can you navigate it so you don't offend your host, but you don't stuff yourself, right? You can say, oh, no thank you, but I'll take some to go, or no thank you, but I will have just a little bit of this, or no thank you, I'm not hungry, but I'll have some tea. So again, there's ways to kind of navigate around that. And we do a lot more of that too in our specialized presentations and things that we do at the museum. Before heading out of the kitchen, I want to take you to one of my other favorite exhibits in this area, and this is our fridge. So this again is a really good sample of what Arab Americans may have in their house, in their fridge, right? So you can see some things that are a little bit more unique, right? So we see khubz or bread, we see hummus, we see falafel, we see rose water as well. So rose water is something that's a little bit more specific to Arab culture. But you also see other things, right? You see typical eggs and butter. So you see a blend of different things, right? So again, there's kind of that Arab American kind of nest going on here in the fridge. The interesting points in here might be the famous Chili and Melody Farms. So these are in here very strategically because both of these are companies that were founded by Arab Americans. So if you've ever had famous Chili or if you've ever had Melody Farms, those are Arab American founded companies.